He'd physically punch me until I was bloody, stuck a wrench down my throat. I tried to poke my eyes out with his thumbs once, and I was totally frightened of him. He had me fully convinced that wherever I would go, he would find me and he would hurt me. He put my head above a burner and told me if I ever left him that he would put my face on one of these burners and scar me for the rest of my life so that no one else would want me. And I lived with that fear, and I drank more and I used drugs more to keep away all the demons.
This is The Bottom Line. I'm Gary Thiemann in Los Angeles. Where there's domestic violence, chances are you'll find a bottle or drugs around. They just seem to go hand in hand. What role does alcohol and drugs play in this picture? Just ask Roe. She's lived the part.
My name is Roe, and I'm an alcoholic. I was born in Glendale, California. I was raised to believe that alcohol was used for municipal purposes. As a baby, they put alcohol in my gums for teething, and as I grew up and had colds, I had plenty of hot toddies. When I was 4 or 5, my grandfather told my grandmother he was going to take me for a walk. And we went out to his car, and he took out a brown paper bag and with a bottle in it, and I asked him what it was. And he said it was medicine, but don't tell Grandma because she doesn't like me to take this medicine. My grandfather died of alcoholism a couple of years down the line. My next bout with alcohol was when I was about 11. There was a party, and the adults seemed to be having a real good time and free, and I wanted to feel like them. You know, I was very withdrawn little girl from previous things that happened to me in the past. So I stole a bottle of liquor from the counter, and I went outside with my cousins and took that first drink, and instantly, it came out actually both ends. And at 11, I took that first drink. I wanted to feel like the adults were acting free and having fun and enjoying themselves, because I was so withdrawn. I was molested a few times as a child. I was a very frightened little girl. I had a lot to carry on my shoulders. I was told that if I told anybody, that everyone would not believe me, and no one would love me, and I wouldn't be accepted, that I was be a bad little girl. And so I had to keep a lot of secrets inside me for a long, long time. And I was also told that they would hurt my father. And so there was just a whole lot inside me that I had to carry for a little girl. You know, it was just a lot to handle on my own, and I dealt with it the only way I knew how until I learned about alcohol. As I went into high school, I drank more heavily. At 15, I believe I was 15, I rolled my car. I had a little Volkswagen. I got drunk and rolled it a few times, and that was my first DUI. I remember, though, waking up in front of my girlfriend's house one morning, half-dressed, with sand in the cuff of my pants from the beach, and not having one recall of ever being at the beach, and the beach being 3 hours away. And was pretty embarrassed. And I was ripping off fifths of vodka at 18. And I didn't bother to share with friends. I wanted it all for myself. It was my new best friend. I seemed to attract very abusive men. At 20, I was with a ex-gang member who beat me on a regular basis. If I didn't do or act the way he wanted, he'd physically punch me until I was bloody, stuck a wrench down my throat. Tried to poke my eyes out with his thumbs once, and I was totally frightened of him. He had me fully convinced that wherever I would go, he would find me and he would hurt me. He put my head above a burner and told me if I ever left him that he would put my face on one of these burners and scar me for the rest of my life so that no one else would want me. And I lived with that fear, and I drank more and I used drugs more to keep away all the demons, all the fears. And God got me out of that house. It was a total God thing. It was to where he was afraid of me after God entered in, because after God entered in, there was no more fear. And I was able to leave. I sustained from alcohol for 2 years. I devoted my life to God, and that's all I did. I lived for church and Bible study and trying to do God's will and be the best person I could be, because God was doing what alcohol used to do for me, and that's take the pain away and love, make me feel loved and accepted, and that I was a good person. But the loneliness set in, and I ended up going back out and started it all up again. I had just got my first apartment and with a girlfriend in Bakersfield. I got drunk and went to a market, and I was going to get some more booze, and I decided I always liked to steal, drive cars, and act crazy when I was drinking. I had the money, but I still went to this market, and I stole a half pint. And as I was leaving, two gentlemen grabbed both arms and proceeded to take me inside as I got very vicious, and I was very physically abusive to everybody around me, and they brought in an ambulance, and they strapped me down, and I was screaming and fighting the whole way, beating everybody up. They took me to a hospital, and they tied me down by my feet and my hands, and I proceeded to scream bloody murder, and there was doctors and nurses and police in the room, and they got tired of hearing me scream and put pure pneumonia on my nose and mouth until my eyes bulged out. And being the rebellious child that I am, I didn't let the pneumonia stop me, and I proceeded to scream more. So they did it longer, and then I had stopped, not because they were doing that and I didn't like it, but because I had already put a plan in my head. It's another thing I did when I was drinking. I was another character. I wasn't Roe. When I was driving in cars and running away from cops, I was Mario Andretti, can't catch me. And now I was going to escape from this hospital. So I quieted down, told them I'd behave, and they all left the room. And when they left the room, I went into my plan, and I got my feet loose, I got my hands loose, or vice versa. I poked my head out the door and saw the nurses and cops and doctors down the hall, and I started running. And I was loving it when I was running. I really actually thought I was in some kind of motion picture. And one cop was the only one that could keep up with me, and I knew if I just cleared the parking lot, I could get behind the houses and they wouldn't catch me. And that's one cop caught me, and he swung me around, and I kneed him in the groin and grabbed my arm, and I hit his arm real hard, and his watch fell off and broke, and that really seemed to irritate him to all out. put the cuffs on me until my wrists were bleeding, threw me in the back of the police car so hard that my head hit the other window on the other side of the car. I remember going in, how I thought they were so abusive to me. When I look back at it now, they had perfect reason to be abusive to me. But the next morning, I woke up in jail, and it was like a new adventure for Roe, something different, a new chapter of my life. It was exciting, so I stayed there for a week. My dad had just moved to Mariposa, which is by Yosemite, to run a new campground. And I didn't want to tell anybody I was in there. I was okay. It was fun. And a new adventure, and was in there for a week, and I'm moving on my second week, or through my second week. And I started bringing in crazy people. And that started getting very scary. So I called my dad and told him I was in jail, and he said, "Yeah, I know." I says, "You know, how come, if you knew, how come you left me in here?" He says, "Well, I wanted you to learn your lesson." And of course I told him I did learn my lesson, to come get me. So he came and got me, and I moved all my stuff out of my new apartment and moved up with him to the campground in Yosemite. And 2 months down the line, I went to a party that, the only thing to do up there, the town was a block long, was to party, unless we wanted to travel 50 miles to town. So I went to this party and was drinking some gin, which I normally don't drink. So when I left the party, I felt pretty much sober, and I woke up in the hospital. And a higher patrolman came and began to tell me what happened. And I was in, thank God I had a big Buick 500, because he said I passed out with my foot on the gas pedal, and went around a 25-mile turn at 90 miles per hour. My car went up on an embankment. It skidded on its side for 1,600 and some feet. Went off a cliff. And these two women that were coming up, which I could have killed if they'd been driving any quicker, found me crawling up the embankment, bloody and dirty. I ended up getting a fractured skull and a few cracked ribs out of that. I was up to the point to where I was drinking fifths of vodka at work. I was a secretary, and I had it in my desk, and had to have that fifth of vodka just to get from 9 to 5. And sometimes I'd even have to go to lunch and get an extra half pint just to make sure I had enough till 5 o'clock. And then when 5 o'clock came around, I tend to do some real drinking. I remember my last drunk. It went on for a couple of months, actually. I went out one night and got pulled over by the very same cop that busted me the first time. So I knew I had to go to court, and had to do some time for it.
A walk through the high drama of alcoholism was a tragedy turned spiritual awakening that would carry Roe through life one day at a time, thanks to God and the loving program of Alcoholics Anonymous.
I finally had to surrender myself to the proper authorities to do my 45 days in Laredo and Bakersfield. It was minimum security, had the women's facilities on one side, the men on the other. There was about 600-700 women on my side. And as I was there, I saw so many women that made it a life to come in and out of that institution on drugs and alcohol. And it was just a way of life with them, and they were fully acceptable to it. It was nothing to them. And as I was in there, I went to AA meetings, and AA was installed with me before I went in there. And it became very vivid that it's not this is not the life I wanted to do. I did not want keep on doing this for the rest of my life. And I seeked God a lot, prayed a lot. And I made a lot of friends in there. It wasn't as scary place as I thought it was. There was a lot of people and women that hurt, that were in a lot of pain being there. And that pain turned me around, feeling their pain. A lot of women came to me, and I was able to, they kept asking me to pray for them. And I tried, I did that. And it was real hard for me to leave, because then I had to start taking care of myself. But I knew that when I left that place that I wanted to fully commit to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. I saw results. I went to Lancaster and had to start a rehab that I was supposed to go to for 14 months, and had a counselor and had to go to a meeting once a week there, and then they sent me to AA meetings. And I hated them. But the more I sat in there and the more I listened, the more I started relating, the more I started seeing that those people were just like me, that I wasn't different. I always sensed I was an alcoholic when I was younger, but I thought I had control over it. And then it just seemed my eyes to open up that I had no control whatsoever. My life was totally unmanageable and had been for a long, long time. And I started, when my court card ran out, I didn't have to have it signed. When I was done with my rehab, when all my court stuff was all done, I still kept going back. Because somewhere down the line, something went in one ear and didn't come out the other. It stayed in my heart. And I saw the way people acted around there. I saw people's lives changed. I've been in the program now for over 4 years. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me. It's taught me how to deal with pain today. It has taught me to feel it and not have to run away from it. It has taught me to feel for other people that are in pain and not just myself. And by doing that, it comes back to me. And people are always there for me. A lot of times I still get rebellious, and a lot of times I still do Roe's old habits, and they get me in trouble. But this program has taught me that I am not alone. That my higher power is the greatest gift of all. Because without him, I wouldn't have the program. I truly believe that he's the one that sent me to Alcoholics Anonymous. I have seen spirituality in the people that are there for you. I've seen spirituality in the 12 steps that direct my life. I've seen God in my sponsor, who unconditionally loves me and directs me and has patience when I keep messing up time and time again, because it's a lifelong process.
You've been listening to The Bottom Line featuring Roe's story. Thanks, Roe, for a beautiful story. This show is produced for Armed Forces Radio Worldwide. I'm Gary Thiemann. Until next time, God bless you, and share the message, won't you? This has been a GRT production.
Night, cold and alone. All I can hear is my heart and thoughts not my own. I don't know how I got here, but I'll wait and I'll pray and hope for the dawn. No, my heart is not too proud. The way I feel, I say out loud. Like a child at rest in his mother's arms, I rest in you. Lost in the valley of death, Every sound, every move, every breath. How long must I be here? Will you lead me away from darkness today? No, my heart is not too proud. The way I feel, I say out loud. Like a child at rest in its mother's arms, I rest in you. Truly set my soul at peace. I trust your love to bring release. Like a child at rest in his mother's arms, I rest in you. No, my heart is not too proud. The way I feel, I say out loud. Like a child at rest in his mother's arms, I rest in you. Truly set my soul at peace. I trust your love to bring release. Like a child at rest in his mother's arms, I rest in you. No, my